Welcome to the Innovation Perspective. Today on the deep dive, we're really focusing on the world of business innovation.
Yeah, looking at those visionary entrepreneurs, the strategies founders need.
Exactly. And it's for anyone curious about, how the business world is changing.
Our main goal here is to break down the essentials for launching a business, specifically in the USA.
We're using the Entrepreneurial Journey USA Startup Guide as our base for this.
Right, trying to really get what makes these startups successful.
And it's a pretty detailed guide. It covers a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. From the initial idea that inner drive.
All the way through funding, avoiding common mistakes.
It really gives a full picture for anyone trying to understand American business today.
Okay, let's dive in then. So the guide kicks off with what it calls the unseen engine. This is about the entrepreneurial mindset, right?
Mm-hmm. Vision, resilience, and adaptability. Those three pillars.
It calls them the internal horsepower. I like that description.
It really fits. Because you can have the best plan, but without that inner stuff.
It's tough going.
Incredibly tough. Vision gives you the direction. Resilience is like the fuel.
And adaptability is the steering wheel.
Exactly. Lets you change course when you need to.
Let's start with vision. The guide says it's more than just an idea. It's like a deep conviction.
A conviction about the future you want to build. Like a North Star.
Yeah, that North Star analogy works. It's about seeing potential.
Where maybe others just see problems or roadblocks.
That ability seems fundamental.
It really is. This deep belief, it fuels their passion, keeps them motivated, especially when things get rough.
So it helps turn those big dreams into actual steps.
Precisely. It's not just having the idea, it's believing in its power to change things. It's quite profound, really.
And things definitely will get rough. Which brings us to resilience.
Ah, yes. Bouncing back.
It's about seeing failures not as, the end of the road.
But as learning opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
which is a huge mental shift for a lot of people.
Definitely.
Resilience is that capacity to just withstand the hits and recover. The path is never straight.
No, never.
Setbacks are just part of it. The resilient ones, they pick themselves up, figure out what went wrong.
And move forward, maybe even stronger.
Exactly. With renewed focus. It's not about not falling down.
It's about how quickly you get back up.
And how you get back up.
Yeah.
What you learn from it. Successful folks often have ways they deal with setbacks, routines, mental tricks. What could you develop? That's a good question for listeners.
Okay, then there's adaptability. Being flexible, open-minded.
Willing to pivot, that's crucial.
Because the business landscape is always changing, right? Sticking rigidly to your plan seems dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. Rigidity is, it's often fatal for a startup. The market shifts, customer needs evolve.
So you have to be ready to adjust, maybe tweak the product, change your marketing.
Or even make a bigger shift, like change the whole business model sometimes.
If you just cling to the original plan, even when the signs point elsewhere.
You risk getting left behind. It makes you wonder, how do you stay flexible when you're so committed to that initial vision? It's a tricky balance.
What's interesting is how these three things, vision, resilience, adaptability, they all work together.
They really do. It's a synergy.
How so?
Well, a strong vision can fuel that resilience you need when things get tough.
Okay, that makes sense.
And resilience gives you the strength to realize, okay, maybe I need to adapt here to keep pursuing that vision.
And adaptability lets the vision itself evolve, maybe, find new paths.
Exactly. They support each other. Vision without resilience probably won't happen. Resilience without vision, you might just be spinning your wheels.
Right. Working hard, but maybe in the wrong direction.
Okay, so after the mindset, the guide moves into these entrepreneurial archetypes.
I found this part really interesting, thinking about these different patterns or styles.
Yeah, they come from looking at how entrepreneurs behave. They can give you inspiration, maybe some context for yourself.
First is the visionary, like Steve Jobs, Reed Hastings, people driven to create something totally new.
Disruptive ideas, yeah. Redefining whole industries.
They see things others just don't.
Absolutely, they're pioneers. But, there's a risk there too, isn't there? Being too far ahead.
Good point. How do they balance that big vision with, the day-to-day realities?
That's the challenge for the visionary, definitely.
Then you have the legacy builder, like Sam Walton. Their focus is on building something solid, something lasting.
Right. Often through really smart resource management, operational excellence, maybe in more established markets.
Building an empire that endures.
Exactly. Solid foundations, efficient processes, long-term, sustainable success.
The lifestyle entrepreneur sounds appealing too, like Tim Ferriss. Building a business that fits your life.
Yeah, aligning the business with personal values, prioritizing work-life harmony,
Freedom, autonomy, flexibility. Those are the big drivers.
sometimes more important than just, maximizing profit or scaling super fast.
And the accidental entrepreneur, like Pierre Omidyar with eBay.
Ah, yeah, people who kind of stumble into it.
It really shows that adaptability we talked about, doesn't it?
It really does. Seeing an unexpected opportunity and just running with it, adapting as you go. Pretty amazing.
There's also the opportunist, like the Instagram founders.
Ah, yes. Super sharp at spotting market gaps or unmet needs.
And moving fast to jump on them.
Exactly. They have a keen eye for trends, customer pain points,
Mhm.
often focused on quick growth, maybe even a strategic sale later on.
It's interesting, despite all these different types.
There are common threads, right?
Yeah. Perseverance, just sheer hard work, learning from mistakes.
Absolutely. Those seem universal across all the archetypes, regardless of their main strategy.
Agility, too, customer focus.
Yeah, willingness to iterate, those pop up again and again.
And the guide is clear. These are just frameworks,
Yeah.
not boxes.
Definitely not rigid labels.
Mhm.
You might see bits of yourself in a few of them,
Or maybe your style changes over time.
for sure. As the business grows, as the market changes, the point is self-awareness, right?
Understanding your own tendencies and using them, not feeling stuck in a category.
Exactly. Leverage your strengths.
Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now, how do you actually, come up with a business idea and make sure it's actually viable?
Right. This is where it gets more practical. The guide talks about idea generation and then, crucially, validation.
Great ideas don't just appear, right?
Usually not. It's about exploring, observing, and then testing rigorously.
The guide lists a bunch of techniques. Brainstorming with cards, blue sky thinking, first principles, scamper, mind mapping, social listening too.
Yeah, a whole toolkit. There's structured ways to spark creativity, look at problems differently.
Like social listening, what's that exactly?
Basically, tuning into online conversations, social media, seeing what problems people keep complaining about, what needs aren't being met.
Okay, finding pain points.
Exactly. And brainstorming with cards is more collaborative, helps teams build on each other's ideas. They give you a process.
And it talks about finding a niche market, that underserved group.
Yeah, somewhere with maybe less competition.
Like plant-based snacks for toddlers or yoga retreats for beginners, really specific.
Focusing on a niche can be super smart for startups, especially if you don't have huge resources.
You can build loyalty, stand out more easily.
Right. Address needs that bigger players might overlook.
The guide really hits this point about the sweet spot.
Where passion, solving a real problem, and a profitable market all meet.
Yes, that intersection seems critical for a sustainable business.
It really is. Passion keeps you going. Solving a real problem means people actually need it. And a profitable market means it can actually survive and grow.
If one of those is missing.
It's much, much harder to make it work long term.
Okay, so you have an idea. How do you know if it's actually any good? The guide mentions a 5-step validation process from Harvard Business School.
Yeah, this is super important. Testing your idea before you sink everything into it. It's about being objective.
Step 1 is just writing stuff down. Goals, assumptions, hypotheses.
Getting it clear in your own head first. What do you think is true about your idea, your customers, the market?
And making those beliefs testable.
Exactly. That's the starting point for validation.
Then step 2. Assess the market size. How big is the pie and how much can you realistically get?
Right. This takes research. Looking at sales data for similar things, checking out competitors.
Making a realistic guess about your potential share.
Yeah, understanding the scale of the opportunity. Is it big enough?
Step 3 uses tools like Moz to check search volume for related keywords.
Smart way to gauge online interest, isn't it?
Definitely. Are people actually searching for solutions to the problem you solve?
And what's the intent behind those searches? Are they just browsing or are they ready to buy? That's important too.
Step 4, customer validation interviews. Actually talking to potential customers.
Ah, the scary part for some.
Haha, yeah. But probably essential.
Absolutely invaluable. Getting direct feedback on their needs, their pain points, their reaction to your idea.
Helps you refine things, make sure you're on the right track.
Totally.
And the last step, step 5, is alpha and beta testing.
Putting your product or service out there with real users.
Finding the flaws, getting feedback before the big launch.
Exactly. Alpha is usually internal or a small group. Beta is wider. It's crucial for ironing out the kinks and making sure it actually meets market needs.
Okay, idea validated. Next up, The business plan. The guide says it's more than just for investors.
Oh, way more. It's your roadmap, your strategic guide.
Forces you to organize your thoughts, define your strategy, plan for growth.
Absolutely. Even if you never show it to an investor, the process of creating it is incredibly valuable internally.
It lists the key parts: executive summary, company description, market analysis,
Organization and management, product service details, marketing and sales strategy.
funding request if needed, financial projections, appendix. Seems pretty thorough.
It covers all the bases. It's like the blueprint for your business. Helps you make informed decisions day to day.
And market research isn't just part of the plan, it's ongoing, right?
Definitely not a one-and-done thing. The market's always moving.
So you need to keep tracking trends, customer preferences, what competitors are up to.
Constantly, it lets you adapt, spot new opportunities, stay ahead of the curve.
And you need to understand customers beyond just demographics.
Like getting into psychographics, their values, lifestyle, buying habits, and behavioral patterns.
Creating detailed buyer personas helps with that.
Hugely. It helps you really visualize and understand who you're trying to reach. Makes your marketing so much more effective. Even just a couple of well-thought-out personas are better than nothing.
And analyzing competitors, both direct and indirect.
Yeah, direct competitors offer similar things. Indirect ones might solve the same customer need differently.
Understanding their products, pricing, market share, how customers see them.
It helps you find ways to differentiate yourself. What can you do better or differently?
Okay, plan in place, research done. Now for the legal stuff. Making it official.
Ah, yes. Launching your U.S. business can seem daunting.
Definitely feels like a hurdle for some.
But getting the legal foundation right from the start is crucial. Protects you, protects your assets, builds credibility.
The guide breaks down the main structures: sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, C Corp, S Corp.
Each with different pros and cons for liability, taxes, admin.
Lots to consider there.
For sure. The best choice depends on your situation, your goals, especially funding plans.
And it makes a key point. Don't just go for the easiest option up front.
Right. Like an LLC seems simple.
But can cause issues later if you want venture capital funding.
Exactly. VCs often prefer C Corp. So thinking ahead about funding is important when choosing your structure.
Might save you headaches and money down the road.
Definitely want to avoid a complex legal conversion later if you can help it.
Then the actual steps. Choosing a unique name, checking availability, getting domain names,
State registration, filing documents with the Secretary of State,
getting your employer identification number, your EIN from the IRS.
which is like the Social Security number for your business, right?
Pretty much. Needed for taxes, bank accounts, hiring.
And don't forget state tax IDs if applicable. And checking social media handles for your name too, early on.
Good point. And DBAs doing business as names if needed.
All those basic steps to become a legal entity.
And then licenses and permits. Federal, state, county, city. Seems like a lot to track.
It can be complex, depends heavily on your industry and location.
Like agriculture, alcohol, aviation need federal licenses.
Yeah, and then state and local permits for things like retail, food service.
Crucial to research all levels to make sure you're compliant.
Absolutely, from day one.
And beyond specific licenses, there's general compliance, labor laws, consumer protection.
Environmental rules, health and safety standards.
So it's an ongoing thing, not just the initial setup.
Exactly. Staying compliant is key for reputation, customers, partners, investors, employees. Builds that legal legitimacy.
Okay, legal side sorted. Now money. Fueling the dream. Funding.
Often one of the biggest challenges, right? Getting the capital you need.
Depends on your business model, how fast you want to grow.
And what kind of financial setup you're comfortable with.
The guide covers a lot of ground here. Bootstrapping, small business loans.
Angel investors, venture capital, crowdfunding, grants.
Each with pros and cons. It's a real landscape.
It is. Bootstrapping gives you control but limits capital. VCs offer big money but take significant equity. Understanding those trade-offs is key.
It explains SBA loans aren't usually direct loans, but guarantees to lenders.
Mostly, yeah. Which can mean better terms like longer repayment or lower down payments.
Popular ones are the 7A, Express 504 programs.
But the application process can be pretty intense. Lots of paperwork, detailed business plan, financials. You work with an SBA-approved bank.
For angels or VCs, it talks about networking, incubators, industry events.
And needing a really solid pitch deck, that's non-negotiable.
Angel investors often come in earlier, maybe offer mentorship.
Right. VCs typically invest more, but look for proven traction and huge potential. The pitch deck has to nail the vision, market, team, advantage.
And crowdfunding. both reward-based and equity-based.
Can be great not just for cash, but for validating the idea early.
Building a community around the product before it even launches.
Exactly. But running a campaign takes a lot of work. Planning, marketing, engagement.
Grants seem like free money.
Huh. If only. They're usually super competitive.
Often for very specific projects or types of organizations.
Yeah. Non-dilutive, which is great, but hard to get. Federal ones on grants.gov often target specific research or nonprofits. Might be corporate grants, too, like Amazon Business Grants worth checking out.
The key takeaway seems to be that choosing funding is strategic, not just about the cash.
Absolutely. Do the investors align with your vision? What expertise do they bring? What are your long-term goals?
The guide has a comparison table, which sounds useful.
Yeah, comparing the options side by side. The right funding can accelerate growth, but the wrong fit can cause real problems later.
Okay, funding secured. But the journey's not over. The guide talks about common entrepreneurial pitfalls.
Knowing what trips people up can help you avoid it, right?
Challenges are inevitable, but maybe you can navigate them better.
That's the idea. Recognize the common traps, develop strategies.
It goes deep into financial mismanagement issues, ignoring cash flow,
Misjudging costs, mixing personal and business funds.
forgetting taxes, being too optimistic with projections,
Not keeping good records, not using financial tech, scaling costs too fast.
or just running out of money.
Yeah, unfortunately common. But the guide offers proactive fixes for each, like forecasting, budgeting, getting professional advice, separating accounts, tax planning.
Data-driven projections, regular reporting, using tech, sustainable scaling, strategic funding,
It all comes down to strong financial discipline. Foundational.
then operational hurdles. Scaling too soon.
Before you have the systems or team in place, yeah, overspending on things you don't need yet.
Taking too long to build a team, or hiring the wrong people or the wrong number of people.
Leading to chaos when growth does happen because you weren't ready.
So strategies like product-led growth, financial discipline, flexible staffing.
Careful workforce planning, investing in scalable systems before the crazy growth hits. Be prepared.
And it doesn't ignore the personal side, the toll it takes.
So important. Work-life imbalance, stress, burnout.
Isolation, fear of failure, self-doubt.
These are real and can sink a business just as easily as financial issues.
So coping strategies are key. Recognizing warning signs, reconnecting with your why,
Prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, delegating, taking breaks.
building support networks, asking for help, reframing failure.
All crucial for your well-being, which directly impacts the business.
It also mentions general challenges like bad forecasting or underestimating infrastructure costs, uses the energy grid as an example.
Yeah, just a reminder that there are always external factors and hidden costs to think about. Need realistic planning everywhere.
And it notes these pitfalls are often connected, right? Need a systems view.
Totally. A problem in finance can ripple through operations or team morale. You need holistic solutions.
Okay. Navigated the pitfalls, hopefully. Now, building your brand and getting those first customers, branding and early marketing.
This is where you connect with your audience. And it's more than just a logo.
It's the whole perception.
Exactly. How customers feel about you. And early marketing doesn't have to break the bank.
The guide says, define your brand identity first. Target audience, purpose, mission, personality, voice.
Before you even think about visuals like logos or colors.
Get that internal clarity. Who are you? Who are you talking to? What do you stand for?
That foundation guides everything else, ensures it's all consistent and makes sense.
And the power of authentic storytelling.
Huge. Connecting emotionally, building trust.
Differentiating yourself with a real story. People connect with that.
For sure. Authenticity is key, though. It has to be genuine.
Then the visual side. Memorable name, check domain socials. Concise slogan.
Logo, visual system reflecting the brand.
And consistency is vital, using a style guide.
Absolutely crucial. Across every touchpoint, website, social media, emails, packaging, builds recognition and trust, makes you look professional.
For low-budget marketing early on, content marketing blogs, videos.
Social media marketing on the right platforms. Search engine optimization, SEO.
Referral marketing, getting current customers to bring in new ones.
Email marketing, building a list, sending valuable stuff.
These seem doable without a massive budget.
They are. It's about creating value, using organic channels smartly. SEO and content build long-term traffic. Social and email build relationships. Referrals leverage word of mouth.
Also mentions things like online groups, maybe small trade show presence, guerrilla marketing, aligning with a cause.
And building a community around the brand.
Yeah.
For loyalty,
How do you do that? Clarity, consistency, long-term view.
treating your team as ambassadors first, aligning with shared values or causes.
Getting customers involved, user-generated content.
Yeah. Engaging authentically online, providing educational value.
A strong brand and community are hard for competitors to copy. Right.
It's a powerful competitive advantage.
Okay, brand building underway. But you don't have to do it alone. Networking and support systems.
So important. Entrepreneurship can feel lonely, but there's help out there.
Building a network is key. Why?
Access to opportunities, speeds up growth, knowledge sharing, support.
Increases visibility, maybe even leads to investment.
All of the above. Your network is a huge asset. It's about building real mutual relationships.
How to network effectively. Use LinkedIn. Go to events, join organizations.
Offer value to others, don't just take. Set goals, follow up.
Be intentional about it.
Proactive and strategic. It's about giving as well as getting.
And there are actual support systems available. The SBA.
U.S. Small Business Administration, they have an Office of Entrepreneurial Development. Local help you can search by ZIP code on their site. Counseling, training, funding connections.
And the SCORE mentorship program.
Yeah, free mentoring from experienced business owners, partnered with the SBA. Reports show businesses using SCORE often do better. Lots of online resources, too.
What about incubators and accelerators?
Good options, too. Incubators are more for early nurturing, longer-term, shared space, mentorship, often regional focus, usually no direct funding.
Accelerators are more intense, fixed term, need an MVP usually.
Right. Often gets seed funding for equity, structured mentoring, ends with a demo day pitch event.
Both offer mentorship, networking, funding access, education.
Definitely. Help develop skills and connections.
And industry associations like SBDCs, NFIB, local chambers of commerce.
Yeah, small business development centers, National Federation of Independent Business. They offer advocacy, education, networking, credibility. And these support systems directly tackle those pitfalls we talked about.
Like lack of expertise, isolation, infrastructure costs.
Exactly. Using them is like proactive risk management.
Okay, we're nearing the end of this deep dive. The last section is Rising Strong, Inspiration, and Your Next Steps.
Focusing on inspiration from others who overcame big hurdles.
Because the path is tough, hearing those stories can help.
Immensely. Provides perspective and practical lessons.
The guide shares stories. James Dyson, 5,000 plus prototypes.
Rachel Watkin, dealing with recession, fire, and flood. Wow.
Conrad Bergstrom, bouncing back from bankruptcy. Andy Hunter of bookshop.org, overcoming skepticism with collaboration.
Io Balagan, adapting after an eviction with a pop-up. Pat Lord, turning imposter syndrome into a strength.
Amazing stories. What's the
Yeah.
common theme?
Hard work, perseverance, thick skin, learning from failure. Again and again.
And the idea that adversity can actually spark innovation.
Yeah, force you to find new ways, build resilience. Often leads to stronger businesses.
That's a powerful way to look at challenges, not just obstacles, but catalysts.
That mindset shift is huge. Seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, for new solutions.
Finally, some concrete, actionable first steps for listeners.
Taking inspiration and turning it into action.
Like revisit your why. Commit to one validation step this week, maybe interviews or keyword research.
Start outlining a business plan problem, solution, market, value.
Explore one networking option and event or group. Reach out to one potential mentor within a month.
Spend 30 minutes just exploring SBA.gov. Review your cash flow for the next 3 months.
And maybe unexpectedly commit to one self-care practice weekly.
Taking those first steps, however small, builds momentum, turns ideas into reality.
The guide wraps up by emphasizing continuous learning, adaptability, the strength of community.
And the value everyone's unique ideas and perspectives bring, which feels like a great place to end our discussion today.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on the Innovation Perspective. We dive deep into business innovation, exploring visionary entrepreneurs and groundbreaking strategies to help you understand the evolving business world. We hope this was useful for founders and the curious alike.
Thank you for listening, and please like, follow, and subscribe.